Yo, this thing on? Let's crank it up, right? We live. We live? Yeah, we live. We on. What's going on, my good people? It's your boy Big Perk, Kendrick Perkins here, and I'm excited. My book is releasing. It's dropping tomorrow. Tomorrow. I'm saying, excuse me. It's dropping tomorrow. I'm excited about it. It's my memoir, The Education of Kendrick Perkins, and it's basically obviously giving you my story because everybody known me to be this enforcer, this guy on the floor, that played rough, that got technical fouls, that did all the dirty work. And now you see me on the ESPN and the media platform, and a lot of people don't know my story. And so I wanted to tell a lot of people about my story, about how I grew up, and for us, being raised by my grandparents, my mom, shot and killed by a best friend when I was 5 years old. Father figure, my dad not being in my life, and growing up in a household where my grandparents, my grandmother made $40 a week, my grandfather made $350 a month to provide, and I was raised in a home where my great grandfather actually built the home, and the ceilings were like 6'3", 6'4". And so by the time I got into the eighth grade, I really couldn't fit in the house, but we had to make it work. And how we survived was we put food on the table. We pretty much ate chicken or something out our backyard 6 days a week. On Sundays, we were able to get pork. I was able to get pork chops, but I basically grew up on a farm in a small town in Texas called Beaumont, Texas, the Golden Triangle. I also talk about my time, my journey to Boston, the culture change, what that organization meant to me as an 18-year-old, how they embraced me, how they basically raised me into a man, and how it's important about, for us going to the NBA, what the organization means to a young guy in his future. I also talked about my time in Oklahoma City. I talked about, all the Hall of Famers that I played with, KG, Paul, Ray, Shaq, Gary Payton, LeBron, KD, Russell Westbrook, James Harden. I mean, the list goes on. And so, I'm excited about it. If you haven't got yours, you better hurry up and get it. You can get it at premiercollectibles.com/Kendrick Perkins. Get a signed copy. And now I'm here, I appreciate everybody that's on. I'm about to start answering a few questions that some of the fans and people that already has had a purchase already purchased my book. They got opportunity to ask me a few questions. So let's get it going.
All right, Perk. We got Sharon from New York asking if you hadn't made it to the NBA, what would you have done instead?
Well, Sharon from New York, I appreciate you buying my book. And her question was, if I hadn't made it to the NBA, what would I have done instead? And the answer is, Sharon, I had no option. And the reason I had no option, one was because I was already tall, right? And I was already big, but I had to make it to the NBA. I had to get my grandparents out of this situation. And I talked about this in my book, was that, you know, outside of me doing anything for myself, I had to make sure that I was able to buy them a home. I was wanted to get them out of the situation because of everything and how they took me in when my mom died. So I had no choice. And to be honest, I don't know what I would have become. Like, I don't know what I would have been. Like, I felt like this was destined for me and I wouldn't go not make it to the NBA. So I didn't have an option, Sharon. That was a great question, but that's my honest answer to you.
All right, bro. We got Charles at Indiana. What made you want to write this book and release it now?
Well, Charles from Indiana, I appreciate you, my brother, for purchasing the Education of Kendrick Perkins. And his question was what made me, want to write this book and why now? Well, I felt like this is the perfect timing. One, because I'm all over TV, television. People get to see me, giving my takes on basketball, and now they're seeing a different side of me, as my personality that people didn't really know me as far as a basketball player. but I wanted to go outside of that and let people know who I am and where I came from and how I got to this point. And I got through this point of battling adversity. I got through this point by sacrificing, and I needed people to know that because there's so many young men and women out there that need, that inspiration, that need to know that all they need to do is keep pushing when things get tough. And you know, I mentioned this in this book that it was a time in my life when I was playing with the Thunder that I was kind of a hothead, and I had to go to anger management for 2 months in one summer. I believe it was like in 2018, 2012, 2011, one of those summers, because I was getting in trouble off the court. And me going to anger management actually was the best thing that ever happened for me because I was able, one, to find myself, and I needed it because I was around other high powered people that were actually in my room that that was sharing their stories that had similar problems of controlling themselves. And I wanted to share that, and I shared that in my book because the world that we living in right now is like we have so much going on for us with, the mental side of things, and you have so many kids and people that are going through trying times that, raised in the African American community, we don't think that it's okay to go out and get help. Like we kind of get frowned upon or we get made fun of, especially when I was growing up about, oh, you had to go get help and sit down or go to anger management, you got a problem. No, it's okay. And I wanted to let the world know that it's okay. And I wanted to let the world know that we all go through things and there's no hidden secrets. And that's why I told that part of my book. But I just felt like this was the perfect time uh, for me to drop my book and actually tell my story and tell everything that went on in my life and the knowledge that I could share.
We got Lucas out of Ohio. Is there a main takeaway you want your readers to gain from your story?
Ooh, so Lucas, I appreciate you, my brother from Ohio. I don't know if you're from Cleveland. I don't know if you're from Toledo. I don't know if you're from Cincinnati, but I appreciate you. Okay. Uh, he asks, "Is it a main takeaway that I want people to take from my book?" And you know what? The takeaway that I want people to get is just really never give up, right? Like no matter how hard times may get, no matter what you may be facing, it's light at the end of the tunnel. And it was so many nights that I cried myself to sleep, wondering, like I said earlier, my mom was shot and killed when I was 5, wondering like would life have been different when I was a kid and growing up if my mom was there, like to protect me, to be that parent. Not saying that my grandparents didn't do a great job because they did, but I had to fight through it. I had to battle through it, and we go through so many obstacles in life. My thing is that I want, like, despite knowing my story, gain the knowledge of how to keep pushing, uh, and how to get through it and fight through adversity because it's not always the end. Like it's never the end. Like you can get through these tough times.
So now we have Isabel out of New York. When you were younger, what did you want to do when you grew up? Did you ever dream you would be an NBA star?
Mm, Isabel, great question from the NY. I appreciate you buying the Education of Kendrick Perkins. I really appreciate it. And uh, growing up, to be honest, I always wanted to be a police officer. Don't ask me why, right? I wanted to be a police officer for the longest. I don't know why. It was just something that like I wanted to do. Like I could see myself in a uniform in a cop car, and like I could see myself being on the task force and doing all those like because you watch so many movies and you don't really realize that it's more than just going on, high speed chases or going like trying to solve problems or whatever the case may be. But then all of a sudden I just started growing. And when I started growing, I started playing basketball. When I started playing basketball, I started getting love for basketball. And that's why my goal changed and what I wanted to do for a living changed. But surprisingly, I wanted to be a police officer.
We got Joe out of Maryland. What training and disciplines did you do to help you stand out from your other teammates and players?
Oh, who was it?
Joe from Maryland.
Joe from Maryland. I want to say I appreciate you, brother, for purchasing your copy of the edition, The Education of Kendrick Perkins. And what I did, man, to be honest, is the biggest thing was sacrificing. And like, through my high school career when things were like, I was starting to see like the rankings and seeing my name on the mock draft. I started to focus and sacrifice even more. So I wasn't hanging out. I was always by myself. I wasn't partying. I didn't go to senior skip day. Uh I didn't take part into all the activities that was going on because I was in the gym. I did things like my school started at 7:40 in the morning. I was at the school for 5:30 running the track and getting court work in as a youngster, walking to school. I stayed late during the summertime. I didn't have vacations. I didn't go on vacations. I was at open gym at my high school from 8 to 12. I would take an hour break, then I would go across town to another rival high school in Westbrook. I would go hoop in there from about 2:33 to almost 5, 6 o'clock. I would take another break, and then I would go to the Salvation Army, and that's what my days would consist of, Monday through Friday. And Saturdays I would go to Sprout Park. That was a park that you could just go, and it would be open runs with all the old heads, and the old heads that would come up drinking beer and smoking a cigarette and put it down, and you got to pick the sideline and go to work. Sundays we was at Roger Park all day. So I was playing basketball and putting so much work in that I didn't have time for the extra stuff. So that's the sacrificing part of it. But that's what I did to separate myself from everybody else.
We have Sean out of California. What advice would you give to a high schooler wanting to go to the league?
Oh, Sean out of California. Well, I want to say thank you for purchasing your order, your book of the Education of Kendrick Perkins. Um, the advice I would give to a high schooler right now, with all the stuff that's going on in the AAU world and the high school world, and I mean, just coaches tugging at you, parents and guardians giving these kids the wrong advice, is to be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself and find out who you are as a player, right? Like if you're a shooter, then damn it, you got to get 1,500 to 2,000 shots up a day. If you're a point guard, you still got to work on your jump shot, but you got to make sure you putting in the extra work to work on your vertical, to work on your handles. Like you got to be in the gym and you got to find your niche and be great at your niche. Because one thing that we all know is that yes, you have franchise guys, right? You have Steph Curry, you have LeBron James, you have Giannis, you have Kevin Durant, you have Luka Doncic, but you also have 13 other guys that are on that roster. Probably another one is a superstar or a star caliber player, but the other guys are role players. And so what you got to do is those role players, you got to find your niche. And if you notice the way that the NBA draft has gone, like GMs are, if you're not in that top five, then they don't really have plans on building a franchise around you. So outside of that, you got to come in and find out who you are and what you're going to bring to the table. And that's what I found out when I actually got to the league when I was 18 years old, when I had to make a decision, when I had conversations with my coach, Jim O'Brien, and then the following year, Coach Doc Rivers, about who I was as a basketball player and who I was, and found my identity so that I had a 14-year career and I was able to be successful in the NBA.
So we have Linda out of Wisconsin. How did you meet your wife?
So Linda out of Wisconsin, I appreciate you buying the book. Thank you so much. And let me tell you how I met my wife. So my wife and I have been together since the 10th grade. My wife is from Port Arthur, Texas, which is 10 minutes from Beaumont, Texas. And we played her high school in Port Arthur, and I saw her, right? And so I had some friends that were in Port Arthur, and I was like, man, who is that? And they was like, oh, her name Vanity Alpo. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So at the time, my wife had a job at the nursing home. So I had a good friend by the name of Calvin that I went up to Calvin and I called him and I said, hey man, listen. Well, we had beepers at the time. So I paged him 911. He called me back. I'm like, hey man, I need to get that Vanity, man. Tell her what's up. Like, man, she work at the nursing home. So I'm like, okay, she don't have no cell phones. Like, nah, she don't have a cell phone, none of that. I'm like, what? Like, we all got cell phones and beepers, like the new, what was it at the time? It was prime codes and what's the other one? The no kills out, no, yeah, the no kills where you could play Snake on the phone and things of that nature. So Calvin actually went up to her job and they called her on the intercom to come to the front desk. And he was like, here, man, this a message from you from Kendrick Perkins. He said, call him. It's like Perkins like, yeah, big tall Perk. It's like, I ain't calling him, but you can give him my house number. So he ended up getting the house number. So I called her. And then ever since then, we've been together since the 10th grade. True story.
We have Alyssa out of Tennessee. What's been your favorite part of fatherhood?
Oh, well, Alyssa, out of Tennessee, I appreciate you for purchasing your copy. Again, if you're trying to get yours right now, signed copy, you can go to premiercollectibles.com/Kendrick. Go get it right now, okay? But Alyssa, listen. What was the question?
What's been your favorite part of fatherhood?
Oh, my favorite part of fatherhood, everything, everything. And when I say everything, I mean that because I didn't have my dad, right? And I didn't have siblings. So I was the only child. And I wanted a huge family. Like I wanted 5 kids, but my wife and I stopped at 4. We said that's enough. Once we got the 4 and all the personalities get the kicking in and the rules and you got to go here and go there, parent teacher conference this week and all this. We stopped at 4. But the great thing about it is that I'm able to be there, right? Like dad is able to be in the house. Dad is able to hear the stories. Dad is able to be able to teach and guide my sons through life. Like, and it's more than just sports. Like I'm able to hear, what happened at school, and I'm able to hear about this certain individual that they may have a crush on and how they need to handle it, or a situation that only a man could teach, or how I could teach them how to change a flat tire, or change a toilet seat, right? Like anything to that nature a man could do. Like those are moments that I cherish and never take for granted. And now, like your kids are able to call your phone. Like the one thing about it, you could be having the worst day in the world, but when your kids call you, it just changed everything. Like your day could be going horrible, but when your kids pick up the phone and call you, or you see the smiles on your kid face, or you able to be there at AAU games, be at their dancing practices, being able to drop them off to school, being able to pick them up, and they excited to see you. Like that's the best thing about being a father and being there for me, being in my kids' life.
So we have David out of Texas. Best memory from playing in the NBA.
David out of Texas. What's up, my Texas boy? I appreciate you, David, man, for buying the book, man. Really appreciate you. My best part, I'll be lying to you if I didn't say this, is winning the championship in 2008. Uh, that sticks with you for life. Like, we're still to this day, and I believe we almost like 25 years out from winning that NBA title. People still say, hey, Perk, that's you, '08 champions, right, with the Celtics. Like, that was the best part ever. Like, forget anything else. Forget when I had a 20 rebound game night, or I had a double-double this night, or I played against. No, it was winning the 2008 championship, because that's something no one could ever take away from me, ever. And I remember the parade like it was yesterday, too, by the way.
So we have Liam out of Florida. If you could put together a dream starting five of current players, who would be your lineup?
Ooh, Leon?
Liam.
Liam out of Florida. First of all, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you for, what I'm saying, purchasing your copy of the Education of Kendrick Perkins again. PremierCollectibles.com Kendrick. You can go get your signed copy right now. Okay, just click the link above. That's all you got to do. Hit the link right there. But listen, if I had to pick a starting five right now if I had to pick a starting five, the first guy I'm picking off the top is Giannis Antetokounmpo, okay? And then I'm gonna pick Steph Curry. And then I'm gonna pick Kevin Durant. And then I'm gonna pick LeBron James. And then I'm going with Joel Embiid. I think you can't pick a better top five than that. I mean, that's what it is. You got guys that can play off the ball. You got guys that can make the right decisions. You got size. You got a defensive presence, and they won't lose a game. So I'm going Steph Curry. I'm going LeBron James, Giannis Antetokounmpo, KD, and Joel Embiid.
So we have Tyler out of Georgia. What's been a highlight or pinch moment in your career?
Tyler out of Georgia, man, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you buying my book, man. I really appreciate you. Hey, look, click the link above. If y'all haven't got it, PremierCollectibles.com Kendrick. It released tomorrow. Signed copy you can get, okay? Look, you know what's been the highlight, like premier moment for us in my career? It's me actually being in the media after basketball, because this was never something that I thought about doing. This is something that really just happened, and I actually love it. And it wasn't easy for me because I'm not a Hall of Fame. I wasn't a Hall of Famer that came out of the league, so I didn't have the red carpet rolled out for me. So I actually had to work. I actually have to be unbiased. I actually have to stay on my P's and Q's every single day, making sure I study and work on my craft along with watching the game to stay where I'm at and try to get even past that. So being where I'm at right now in the media is the highlight of my career, to be honest with you.
So we have Scott out of South Carolina. Favorite memory post NBA from being on TV?
Scott, what's up, Scott? Man, I appreciate you buying the book again. PremierCollectibles.com Kendrick Perk. You get your signed copy right now. Book come out tomorrow. All right, or click the link above. Here we go. Like, you know what? I'm gonna say this. I don't have one moment for us being in the media, but I have many moments. And the moments I love the best is when guys that are still playing go back at me on social media. Like, I love that. Like, because what they don't realize is that even if it's a good or bad reaction, you gave me a reaction. That means you actually watching me on TV. That's the premiere. That's the highlight of me being on television, is when they go back at me, because I'm like, okay, you watching good. Please continue.
So we got Bobby out of Louisiana. What advice would you give to a young kid going through a hard time?
Ooh. Bobby out of Indiana, Louisiana, huh, baby? Yeah, that's how they say it down there. But, hey, Bobby, I appreciate you, man. Buying the Education of Kendrick Perkins, PremierCollectibles.com /Kendrick. Get your signed copy. Look, click the link above and get it right now. Signed copy, come out tomorrow. But look, this is advice that I give to a young man. Like, it's okay to open up and ask for help, right? And it don't have to be financial help. It don't have to be anything that's sports related. Like, if you need help for your mental, it's okay to ask. Like, go reach out to a mentor, go tell your parents, go tell your guardians, whoever is raising you. It's okay to reach out and say, I need help right now. My mental is down. I need to talk with somebody, because holding that in is not good for you. It's not good for your soul. It's not good for your health. And I'm telling you, once you go out there, to all the youngsters that are going through something, a hard time, I don't know if it's something at school, I don't know if it's something at home, go find somebody and talk about it. Somebody that you trust that's going to guide you in the right direction. Don't be afraid to reach out for help.
We got Ethan from Texas, another Texas. Anything you were nervous to write about that's in your book?
Oh, Ethan, my guy. You know what? I appreciate you, man, for buying your copy, man, and getting it early. Again, if you're trying to get one, go premiercollectibles.com/Kendrick. Hit the click the link above. You can get your signed copy. They come out tomorrow. Do what you got to do. But Ethan, I appreciate you. Here we go. Uh, you know what? No, I wasn't. I wasn't because I'm unapologetic, and this is my memoir. So it wasn't nothing that I was afraid to say in this book because this is my story and this is my truth. And I'm dedicating this book to my mother who died when I was 5, and I'm proud of this book. And whatever is in here, I'm saying it straight from the heart and it's straight facts. And if anybody that's in this book that I mentioned feels some type of way about it, then that's just their problem. But this is me, my moment, cherishing my mom, dedicating this to my mom. So it's nothing but truth, facts, and great stories in here.
So we have Joel out of Boston. When you first got into the league, what was it like? Was it surreal? Was it humbling?
Oh, that's Joel Embiid. He got traded to Boston. Oh, nah, Joel. What's up, man? I appreciate you. I appreciate you, man. For purchasing a book. Man, you know what? It was humbling for me. It was humbling because I went from one of the top high school players in the country to not even playing on the injury reserve list. And right there was a wake up call for me that I needed to get my stuff together. And I had a great group of vets that were in my locker room at the time that was able to guide me and was able to push me and hold me accountable. So it was humbling. Like, yeah, you get to the league, but it's also embarrassing when you're not playing, right? Because you got all your friends back at home saying you ain't even getting in the game. And it was a humbling situation and it made me work even harder.
So we got Stephanie from Washington.
Uh-huh.
When you were younger, who inspired you? Who did you look up to?
Stephanie, what's happening? I appreciate you, Stephanie from Washington, buying the Education of Kendrick Perkins. I really appreciate you getting your copy. And who inspired me? You know what? It was a lot of people that inspired me that played a major role in my life. But the person that inspired me the most was my grandfather. Because he taught me how to be a man. He taught me how to do all the things that men do. He taught me how to cut grass. He taught me how to do for myself. He taught me how to tie a string to the lawnmower and put it on my bike and drag it up and down the street and go cut yards for $5 every Saturday morning to make some type of money so they have to save up to give me some school clothes in the summertime. I mean, after the summertime was over for the following year. So he just taught me how to be a man. He did everything that he could. He built my first basketball goal. And he was the best man in my wedding. He died about 6, 7 years ago, battling with multiple, illnesses or whatever the case may be. But he was that guy that was like that man that I never seen cry before. I never seen him shed one tear. He was just that stiff, but that lovely at the same time. So it was my grandfather. His name Raymond Lewis, by the way.
So we have Jim from Ohio. You've been an athlete, an author, a TV personality. What's next for you in your career?
Who is
Jim from Ohio.
Jim from Ohio? I appreciate you. Appreciate you buying the Education of Kendrick Perkins. Hey, look, you get your copy. I'm gonna say it again. premiercollectibles.com /Kendrick. Hit the link above and you get your signed copy. Signed copy. But Jim, listen, what's next for me is I'm still working on being the best analyst that I could be on television. I had so many regrets when I was hooping, so much that I felt like I left on the table. I don't want to have those same regrets, and I want to make this career better than my last career, which was playing basketball. So right now, I'm solely focusing on being the best Perk that I could be as a TV personality right now. And that's what my goal is. Like, I want to accomplish everything and more and make sure I continue to strive upwards and not downwards when it comes down to being in the media space.
So we have Desmond from Missouri. Do you think social media has been more harmful or helpful when it comes to high school recruiting?
Desmond, thank you. Great question. And I appreciate you too, man. I appreciate you for buying this book, my memoir. I appreciate it again. Desmond got theirs, his. You better get yours. You better get yours. PremierCollectibles.com/Kendrick or hit the link above. All right. Look, this social media, man, has killed a lot of these children today. All right. Like, and their parents. It's bad, man, because I watched so many times. I was just at the AAU gym last night because my sons was playing, and I'll watch so many games because you got to be up there 10, 12 hours a day, especially if you got multiple kids. That's another story. But I'm sitting up there and I'm watching, man, and I'm saying, okay, I'm watching these games. It's about 5 different games. So I'm in and out of the gymnasiums, going to different gyms. As soon as I get back to my phone, I get on the internet, I get home, I see some of these kids I just saw and they posting their highlights. And I'm like, well, I just watched you play. And yeah, you could pinpoint some of them highlights, but you really wasn't doing that. And your team didn't win. And you wasn't really standing out like that. And that's okay. But it's like it's almost like let me hurry up and rush to the internet so I could fake it and show the world that I was doing this or I'm cold because I did this one move. And it was like, no, like and what it does is it stunts the growth of all the kids from working hard because all it is false success. So yes, has the internet hurt? It's beyond hurt the game in these kids today. Like it's mind boggling, and it's not just the kids, it's the parents as well.
So we have TJ from Rhode Island. Current predictions for the NBA Finals this year.
TJ, I appreciate you. I appreciate you, man, getting your copy of the Education of Kendrick Perkins. Hey, look, get yours. You hit the link below, PremierCollectibles.com/Kendrick. Listen, if I gotta go predictions right now, since you put me on the spot, I would say the Boston Celtics, Denver Nuggets. Now, if you know me, right, it's fluid. You know what I'm saying? My takes and everything is fluid. So next Monday might be something different, but I'm going out on the limb. That ain't really who I want to rock, but since you put me on the spot, that's who I would say right now. Denver is number one in the West. The Celtics number one in the East. Damn it, they earn the right to get that respect as of right now.
We have Cindy from Florida. Do you regret skipping college and going straight to the NBA?
No, but I appreciate the question, Cindy, and I appreciate you buying my book. Okay, I appreciate it. Again, get yours because Cindy got hers. Listen, I don't regret it. Here's why. I always tell people nothing gets you ready for the NBA like being in the NBA, even if you're not playing, because you learn so much and it's on you to accept that knowledge, whether it's being a professional outside of basketball. Like you learn so much. So no, I don't regret it for the simple fact that that's what I wanted to do anyway. So why go to college? Like I had the opportunity to start my career early, and I did that. So when I think about when I think about certain times for as like, you know, me watching guys come in as I started to getting around like, my fourth, fifth year in the league, and I'm watching guys that actually went to college for 2, 3, 4 years that came in and couldn't get it. Like they couldn't get it. Or they couldn't buy into accepting a lesser role. And then all of a sudden you see them out the league. And it was crazy to me because when they put the rule in effect that you had to go to college, I was like, it's crazy. Because I actually watched it and I lived it, that nothing gets you ready for the NBA like actually being in the NBA. And it don't matter if you're playing or not, just being around and being in the facility to get that professional training, to learn how to take care of your body, to learn how to see how to watch the game, study the game, learn the routines of being at home, being on the road, how to handle tickets and all that. Like all that comes with it. And like people don't understand what you have to go through on a day-to-day basis to make sure your mental is right, to make sure you stay focused, to make sure everything is in order so that you can go out there and be the best version of yourself when your time do come for you to come out there and step between those lines. So no, I wouldn't change it. I would always make the same decision.
We have Ty from Mississippi. Would you ever consider becoming a coach?
Ty, no. But I appreciate you. I appreciate you for buying the Education of Kendrick Perkins. I really do. Ty from Mississippi. You know what I mean? I appreciate that. But you know why I wouldn't want to be a coach? I don't have the patience. I don't have the patience for the guys how it is in today's game, right? The sitting out, the load management. You don't know who's gonna play. Guys, one minute you might have a team that you feel like you didn't the locker room then embraced your coaching style, and all of a sudden they ask for a trade. They want out. They pouting about something. I don't want that. I don't want that. I'd rather do what I'm doing right now, and that's watching the game and getting a chance to go speak about it and voice my opinion and voice facts on television than go in that locker room and deal with some of them dudes today. Yeah, that's it.
You got John from Kentucky. How do you coach or mentor your kids in basketball?
John, my brother, I appreciate you from Kentucky. I appreciate you. That's Rondo, right? Yeah, Rondo from Kentucky, my good friend. But look, I appreciate you getting your edition of the Education of Kendrick Perkins. Again, if you haven't got yours, you can get yours right now. PremierCollectibles.com/Kendrick. Just hit the link above and you get your assigned copy. All right, get your assigned copy. But look, what was this question? I be talking so much.
How do you coach or mentor your kids?
My kids. I'm all the way brutally honest. We have conversations and I tell them straight up, hey, look, man, that ain't gonna get it. That ain't gonna get it. What you doing is not it. But on the other hand, I have to do a whole nother session with my children on how to block out the outside noise because as a former player, and as a guy that's on television, my kids walk into the gyms with so much pressure on them that they need to know how to handle it. They need to know that it's okay. They need to know that you're going to be in hostile environments. So I raise my kids different. I have their mindset a little different because I have to. So, you know, at the end of the day, I think the most important thing is honesty. Like, I don't just tell my kids that you're like that when they're not like that. Like, you got to be honest with these kids and let them know, hey, man, you still got to work. Like I done watched you drive 10 times, and every time you done came back to your right hand, I ain't seen you go left one time. Or every time you got to shoot a jump shot, you got to take a dribble to get your rhythm. Why you just can't catch a shoot? Or on your free throws, why you taking your dribbles before you take your shots or your routine and you looking down at the ball? Why, like all those little things. Like I got to be honest, and I like what my kids is. It's about I need to see effort because you're not going to go out there and score 20 all the time and have a lot of points. But how can you affect the game of basketball without scoring the game? Can you go rebound? You're going to dive on the floor. You're going to set screens. Or you're going to get loose balls. What else you going to do? It's other areas you could do that's not going to show up in the stat sheet where they can say, man, he was a problem or she was a problem. That's what I teach my kids.
So we have Lindsay from New York. Favorite thing to do with your family?
Lindsay, favorite thing to do. You know what? Is we like to actually go to the water park. We have water parks in Texas. I'm from Houston, Texas. Summertime is hot, okay? It's super hot. And the best thing we do, and we do it almost twice a month, sometimes 4 times a month, every weekend. We go take time and we go to this water park called Splash Town and we have a ball. Yeah, me too. Me too. I may not take my shirt off because I ain't got the big Perk body that was hooping. So you know what I'm saying? But we have fun. We have fun. And I appreciate you, Lindsay, for purchasing your edition of the Education of Kendrick Perkins.
We have Darian out of Michigan. If you could have one meal for the rest of time, what would it be?
One meal? It was Darian?
Darian,
Out of what?
Michigan.
Hey, Danny, I appreciate you. I appreciate you for purchasing your copy, man. But why we gotta talk about food? You know what I'm saying? I don't need to be thinking about food right now. Matter of fact, food need to be far away from my mind. But if I had to pick one meal, it would be shrimp fried rice. Okay, shrimp fried rice, extra eggs. Yeah, that would be it. If I had to pick one, but I appreciate you, and I appreciate you purchasing my book, man. Hey, look, if you're trying to get one signed copy, premiercollectibles.com/Kendrick, or hit the link above. I'm telling you, look, it's coming out tomorrow.
We have Carrie out of Illinois.
Carrie.
What are practical things you do to keep your mental health in check, especially when you were in the NBA and had a lot of pressure on you?
Oh, good question. Well, Carrie, first of all, thank you. Thank you. I really mean it. And thanks for the question as well. I just take time to myself to gather my thoughts before I do anything. Turn on the TV, pick up my phone. When I wake up in the morning, it's like 15 to 30 minutes of me just gathering my thoughts and like actually like getting myself together, not worrying about nobody else, not worrying about nothing I got to do that day, but actually just getting myself together. Like, forget what happened yesterday. I'm moving forward. That's the problem. Like, we run into obstacles and we run into adversity, and people don't know how to move forward, or just think about how we're going to find a way, or be like, it's going to be okay. We just got to work through it. Like, I never look back. So if I had a bad Thursday, I'm not waking up Friday with that same energy. I'm going to find a way. So it's hard, but again, also you take time to yourself, but also you got somebody that you could trust. Like, let that out. Go have that conversation with somebody. Talk that thing, talk it out. Like, that's always good. I'm telling you, it helps. Talking it out with somebody that you know is going to help. Someone that you trust. Don't hold it in to yourself. And it's okay if you need help to protect your mental. Do it.
We have Kennedy out of Indiana.
Kennedy, appreciate you. From Indiana, what she say?
What are the differences between how the NBA used to be and how it is now? You think we will ever get good old basketball back?
We would never get it back. But I'm with you, right? The old school guys actually showing up to work to play, the physicality. But again, it's not football, so we have to realize that. And I don't know if people really want to see the final score of a game 89 to 85. I don't. So I mean, it's called evolution, right? So we able to see guys score 71. We able to see guys score 50. We're able to see Steph and Damian Lillard shoot from the parking lot. Jason Tatum sidestep threes, step back threes. Joel Embiid and Jokic being those skill centers. Like, I don't know if I want to see that, to be honest with you. I don't want to see all the wrestling and all that. I want to see skill. That's what sell. That's what's entertaining. And guess what? The numbers don't lie because the viewership is through the roof when it comes to people watching the game of basketball. So I know you want to get back to the old school and let's throw some elbows and a hard flagrant. Somebody might knuckle up. Nah, I don't want to see that. I want to see straight skills.
We have Dwayne out of Minnesota. How do you like working with Stephen A. Smith?
Dwayne out of Minnesota. First of all, before I get on Stephen A. Smith, I want to say I appreciate you. I appreciate you for buying your copy. And look, to everybody else, they can get their copy as well. Book come out tomorrow. I'm excited about it, but you can order it right now. premiercollectibles.com/Kendrick. You click the link above. Now, when it comes down to Stephen A., I get this question all the time. Man, how Stephen A., man? Stephen A., is he real? He's the most realest, authentic person to ever be around. And he's one of the smartest people that I've ever been around. He is a genius. He's great at what he does. He's great at his delivery. He's entertaining. And guess what? He get paid top dollar and he's worth every single penny. He actually helped me. He mentored me. He showed me the ropes. He showed me how to go into different shows, how to deliver certain things. Now, I'm never going to speak like him. I speak with broken English. I'm from the country. Hey, that's who I am. But when it comes down to Stephen A., that man is a great man outside of television. One of the realest I done been around, but he is damn good at his job.
We have Marcus from Kansas. Do you have any regrets from your career?
Marcus, what's up, man? Why you gotta ask the hard questions? All right, look. First of all, thank you. All right, thank you for purchasing your copy. Now, seriously, I appreciate it. But yeah, I got a lot of regrets. I got a lot of regrets because in the summertime, man, when I could have been working out, I was partying. In the off season, when I could have been putting more into my craft, when I could have been working on my jump shot, my 15-footer, working on my 3-point shot, knowing the game was changing. I wasn't. I was like, man, I'm gonna still be on somebody's bench, and I took it for granted. And not only did I probably shortchange myself for as the more time added to my career, but I shortchanged my pockets because I could have got paid more. And I do have regrets, but that's why I'm not having regrets in this new career of mine because I took so much for granted while I was playing. And I'm gonna tell you something. The best thing that happened to me in my basketball career was that I went to the G League. The G League humbled me so much, and it made me appreciate not only being back in the NBA when I got back, but it made me appreciate life. And I'm telling you, man, listen, I have regrets for sure.
All right, Perk, I think that was the last question.
Look, that was it. But look, I appreciate everybody that came out and purchased the book so far. Again, it drops tomorrow. Look, if you need your signed copy right now, premiercollectibles.com/Kendrick. You click the link above. Click the link above and get your signed copy. I'm telling you, you don't want to miss it. I'm telling you my whole story. I'm telling you about where I was raised, where I was born and raised. I'm telling you about the coach. I'm telling you what I've been through. I'm telling you about what happened in Boston. I'm telling you about the guys I played with. I'm shining light on everything. And I'm telling you real facts about myself and giving you insight on myself and my situation and how I got to the point where I'm at today. So I appreciate everybody that has already got their copy of the Education of Kendrick Perkins. And I appreciate the ones who are about to purchase theirs right now. premiercollectibles.com/Kendrick. Again, hit the link above. You get your signed copy right now. But I appreciate y'all. I'm more than grateful. And I just want, to continue to whatever I can. You know what I'm saying? I just hope to the ones that got it, I hope y'all really enjoyed. I've been getting nothing but positive, great feedback from professors at colleges and all that. Like, they've been like, hey, Perk, you did your thing. I'm like, okay, cool. But I ain't really do nothing. Like, I ain't faking. This really who I am. This really what I went through. So I appreciate it. Again, if you haven't got your copy, get yours right now. premiercollectibles.com/Kendrick. Hit that link above. Go on, get your signed copy right now. It released tomorrow. It released tomorrow. All right.
Hey, this is John Acuff, New York Times best-selling author of 7 books and someone who's done a live signing. If you like the one you just watched, make sure you check out our YouTube channel. It's full of amazing authors having great conversations and signing books for viewers just like you. So make sure you subscribe, and thanks for watching today.